Hello and welcome back to another video on TGM Guitars. I'd like to start the video off how I always start them, thanking everyone who's shown support recently, whether that's through simply watching the videos, leaving a like rating or even subscribing to the channel. Managed to hit 300 subscribers, which greatly appreciate, and I think the next goal will be 500. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing if you enjoyed the video. Leaving a like rating or even a comment, it's always good to have a discussion going on down in the comments. And with that said, let's jump into the topic of the video. So today we're going to be talking about one of the mainstays on my pedal board, one of the go-to pedals I use to kind of get my thick, massive, kind of distortion fuzzy sound, and that is the Electro Harmonix Little Big Muff. So if you've never heard one of these things, the only way to describe it is just one massive kind of wall of sound is created by this thing. It's featured on countless numbers of albums, kind of used a lot during the grunge era, and throughout the late 70s as well, when the pedal first came out. It's kind of been a staple of the kind of distortion fuzz. Don't want to call it an out and out fuzz, although it technically is, because it's a hard clipped style of pedal, but it also has that big sort of distortion sound. So it's kind of in the period when things were crossing over. So on the front you have the volume, the tone and the sustain. So the sustain is basically how much fuzz do you want. Volume, that's your level control, and tone, it's just basically a typical tone control. You turn it up and you've got more highs, turn it down and you've got less highs. So it's in a smaller form factor than the original Big Muff pedal. If you've ever seen one of those things, they're quite unwieldy and don't fit on a pedal board too well. So it's kind of nice to be able to buy it now in the smaller pedal forms. You can buy it as the Little Big Muff as we have here. I believe there's the Nano Muff, which is even smaller, so that's in a sort of standard small pedal size, not a mini pedal, but your standard pedal size. So I opted for this one. Don't know why I chose this over the Nano. To be honest, I just bought it because it was available. Probably would have bought it in any format bar the kind of full size. I think the only difference really is obviously the layout of the circuit, and then I should imagine this is surface mount. Sorry, this will be more than likely through hole. I haven't actually opened it up to have a look. And then the other one's surface mount components, which it doesn't really make a difference. The layout probably does, but to be honest, this gets you in the ballpark of what you need for that Big Muff tone. So I think that's enough rambling on. It's a fairly simple pedal, so not really too much to cover in it. And yeah, let's chuck it through an amp and get some sounds out of this thing. So, quick rundown of the setup. I've got my Rockets Telecaster providing some single coil tones going into my pedal board, where I'm only running the Little Big Muff. The reason it's going through the full pedal board is because it's a bit of an iffy switch on it. I only realised that while setting this up, and worked perfectly fine in the on mode and not so much in the off mode. So on the bypass it's a little bit hit or miss. So we're going to leave that on the whole time. It has been used a lot of stepping on it, so I mean, probably should have lasted longer, but the switch is definitely on its way out. I've had a clean out before of all the pots, so it's not those. And yeah, it's unfortunate, so that's something to be aware of. Maybe it's not built as well as it could be with that switch, but aside from that, it works. So that is then going into the front end of my Marshall DSL 100, running on the green classic gain channel, so what is considered the clean channel, but we'll never call that on the next people moan. That is then going into the Torpedo Captor X, running a 1968 vintage style cabinet by Madsen, and into Cakewalk and the internet to you guys. Okay, so this is the bass sound. So what we're going to do now is chuck the Big Muff on. I've adjusted the volume to be unity gain. At 12 o'clock it's not quite there, there's a bit of a volume drop. So I've adjusted that beforehand, but the tone and sustain are both on 12 o'clock. So let's see what that sounds like. So yeah, nice big kind of just fills the sound out a lot, and when you're playing live it really kind of accents that. So what I usually do is push the sustain up a little bit, and I usually put the tone up to kind of bring it out of its shell a bit more, but with these single coils I'm probably not going to do that because it'll become too harsh and a little bit kind of raspy. So just sustain a little bit up. So yeah, you can just tell it just kind of pushes that a little bit further. So let's do a bit of a sweep now, because the tone could do with going down, especially with these brighter pickups. So this is the sustain. I'll just kind of chug and turn it up and down. So that's all the way down. 12 o'clock. And completely over the top at all the way up. So I'm going to leave that round about there. That's where I like it. And just a sweep of the tone for you. Don't usually do this in my videos, so I don't know why I am, but. So for this guitar, around about there. So what I'll do now is just play some riffs, and we'll go to the neck pickup, play some single note stuff, and yeah, just see what it sounds like. So it's good for that big kind of filling up the room with sound. At gigging volumes, this thing is completely insane and is just a wall of sound. But on the kind of faster single note stuff, it does start to sputter a little bit, which is where you've got to sort of learn to play with this pedal. And yeah, I'll give an example of that now. I am not a fast player, so it's probably going to sound really rubbish, but it's just kind of an example of I can usually get away with it with enough gain. But with this, it's kind of, it accents all of those, like you hear the edge of them all. So if you get it wrong, people are going to notice. So it's probably not the best for that. Probably best going to something else for a lead tone. But as far as just big chunky chords and riffs go, this thing just can't be beaten. So what I'm going to do now, switch over to something with some humbuckers in, and let you guys hear what it sounds like with humbuckers. So humbucker sounds today are coming courtesy of my Gretsch Streamliner. So yeah, this is what it sounds like with the pedal off. Of course, more volume because we're dealing with humbuckers here. And with the pedal on, same settings as the last time I used it on the Telecaster. So yeah, this is where I do like it with humbuckers. So I'm just going to turn that sustain down a little bit. Tone, I'm quite liking it at 12 o'clock. I usually have to push it up a little bit with humbuckers because it gets a little bit flubby. But it's actually sounding okay, I think. So now I'm just going to play some riffs, let you hear what it sounds like, and just enjoy this pedal. So yeah, that is the Electro Harmonix Little Big Muff. So, hope you guys enjoyed how that sounded. It's kind of my go-to fuzz pedal now. It's kind of a fuzz distortion. It's one of those pedals that does walk the line in between, which I like quite nicely. And yeah, it's stayed on my pedal board ever since I bought it. Never left. Sometimes put a wire in front of it for some of the riffs that I used to play. It doesn't get as much use anymore with my new band. I only really use it for a cover of Come Together that we do. We did a Gary Clark Jr. version, so you need this kind of big massive sound. And that's really, unfortunately, the only time I use it. So we'll have to try and find some ways to start using that pedal a bit more again. It does sound pretty good through the Vox. I've got a video of me putting all my gain pedals through the Vox, so if you haven't already, then check that out, see what it sounds like for a Vox. But as usual, this video has just been me kind of going through and enjoying some of the tones that I get out of this pedal and kind of revisiting some old stuff. So hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to comment, leave a like rating, consider subscribing. As I said, motivates me to do more, heading towards that 500 subscriber goal now, so it'd be kind of cool to get there. And yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.